Well, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today at this virtual trustee town hall. We appreciate all of our attendees for taking time out of your day to participate. Dallas College is going through a period of transformation and opportunity for students and our communities that we serve throughout Dallas County. And so for 55 years, you have known us as DCCCD. But now on behalf of Dallas College, welcome and thanks for being here. Throughout this transformation, we have engaged our internal audience about these changes, but today we're shifting gears to have this community conversation to share more about Dallas College and our role in workforce engagement. And we've assembled a great team to join in this conversation today. And I'll start with the introduction by introducing myself. I'm Justin Lunnan. I serve as the Executive Vice Chancellor for Dallas College, and I'll serve as the moderator for the discussion today. Like I said, we have an outstanding team that is joining in this conversation, and I'll start with Representative Rafael Anchia. Representative Anchia is in his 8th term of the Texas legislature. He serves as chairman of the House Committee on International Relations and Economic Development, and he's previously served as a trustee for the Dallas Independent School District. He has a real heart and passion for education and has been a real friend to Dallas College and our students during his time in the legislature and on the DISD board. And then also we have Chair Deanna Flores, who is the one that is responsible for assembling us all today to engage us in this conversation. She has been on our board since 1996. She's vice president of the Greater Dallas Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. She is a former student and employee of this institution and has a heart and passion for serving the community and ensuring that there is access for all through Dallas College and all we offer. We also have Chancellor Joe May with us. Dr. May is our 7th chancellor and has served as our chancellor since February 2014. He has spent his entire career within higher education at multiple levels, has been a CEO at multiple large institutions and state systems, large community college systems from around the country. He is the founding president of Rebuilding America's Middle Class and is committed to ensuring that everything we do as higher education institutions are focused on serving the needs of our communities and focused on workforce engagement. And then our other panelist joining us today is Mike Rader. He's been involved in Southern Dallas County since 1984, bringing development throughout the region. He's one of our partners through Best Southwest. And again, a number of initiatives, multi-billion-dollar initiatives related to private investment in Southern Dallas County. And so has a real commitment to workforce development and economic growth in the community. So that's kind of the team that'll be joining us in this conversation today. We've got a number of questions that we're going to try to get to in the time that we have, and just sort of have a conversation around these issues. So with that, I'll start with our Chair Flores, to provide some opening remarks and to help frame the conversation today. Chair Flores.
All right. Well, thank you, Justin, and good afternoon and welcome to our first virtual trustee town hall today. We will have a series of these town halls because, as Justin said, it is important for you, the public, to be informed about the transformation we are undergoing as your community college system in Dallas County. So on behalf of the Board of Trustees of Dallas College, I want to thank all of you who have logged in so we can share with you why the move to Dallas College. I also want to add my welcome to our panelists, Representative Anchia, Mr. Rader, and of course, Chancellor May. Thank you for sharing your perspectives about the move to Dallas College. We also thank you for the leadership you provide in our communities. One of our overall purposes as a college is ensuring Dallas County has a vibrant, growing economy for current and future generations. We do that by educating students who are skill-ready, work-ready, and are transfer-ready. When Dr. May and his leadership team started looking at opportunities to address some of the challenges facing our students, they realized that our structure was creating some barriers that may cause some of them not to complete their educational goals, and this was just unacceptable. Our 7 colleges were all structured differently and had different processes. So the structure we had in place for over 50 years no longer worked in today's world. We needed to have consistent processes across the colleges, so we became one Dallas College with 7 campuses. Now, with the move to Dallas College, we're realizing many benefits. Chief among them is that it will allow us to graduate more students at reduced cost, and it will shorten the time it takes for them to earn a degree or certificate. A few years ago, when I asked for the average number of credit hours our students take, data shows that it was an astounding 90 credit hours. In the community college, no student should be taking more than 60 credit hours because those are the number of hours needed for an associate's degree. That was a wake-up call, and we needed to address that so students could exit from our colleges with the number of hours required and not the excess hours they were taking. They were needlessly spending more dollars in tuition and books than was required for their degree. They were with us more time than was necessary. So all of what we are doing in the Dallas College organizational model is designed to benefit students, to take only the courses that are needed through consistent processes, to enroll, to persist, and to complete their education with us. From my perspective, Justin, those are some primary rationales for transforming to Dallas College, and I'm sure some of my board colleagues have additional ones, which you will hear about in future town halls that we'll be holding.
Well, great. Thank you, Chair Flores, for getting us started. And as I said, we've got a number of questions to get to. And I'm going to begin with our Chancellor, Dr. May, to get us started. And Dr. May, as Chair Flores was referencing, we're going through this period of transition. Give us some background on why the move to one college was so important from your perspective.
Thank you so much for.
There you go.
There we are. Oh, thank you. Chair Flores, thank you so much for pulling us together today, and thanks for your leadership with our Board of Trustees. Really, and you know, when we began to look at our community, the changing jobs that were there, the need for more people to get into college, we realized that we were leaving too many people behind, and we also understood that people were accessing us differently than they were before. When the district was created 54 years ago, there was no public transportation. Folks were on their own to get to college. They tend to focus on a small geographic region around each of our locations and really commute to that area. Today, we saw that up to 24,000 of our students were going to multiple campuses all at the same time. In other words, they had started treating our institutions like we were a single college. And it makes sense because not every college has the exact same programs that we've offered throughout the region. And of course, what they were doing was trying to maximize their efficiency. So even if the degree was being offered by one location, but they lived in another, they were going to take as many courses as they could close to home, even though they needed to travel to get to the degree. So as we looked at that, and realized that we were really creating a barrier for our students. In fact, we discovered that up to almost 1,000 students a year had met all the requirements for a degree except for one, which is kind of a technical accreditor's requirement that 25% of the courses must be earned from the institution in which they're getting the degree. So they met all the requirements but couldn't get the degree because they did not have enough courses from any one of our institutions. Well, when I realized what was happening, it was really not much of a decision to go directly to our board to meet with the board and ask that we consider consolidating our colleges into a single institution, now Dallas College, to enable literally thousands of more people to earn a degree each year without having to pay additional dollars and being able to really take and continue to take courses and pursue programs on their own terms.
Thank you, Dr. May. I appreciate your perspective on that. And let me turn back to you, Chair Flores, as the Chancellor referenced. Clearly, there was a need to ensure that as we were moving in this direction, that the board was engaged, and the board has been supportive of this move to Dallas College. What about this plan most resonated with you?
That's a good question, Justin. What resonated most with me? So one of the board's top priorities is to make an impact on income disparity in our community. As you know, that's a big issue. The poverty level in Dallas and other areas of Dallas County is unacceptably high. Statistics solidly demonstrate that education alleviates poverty. By helping our students complete their education faster, including those from low-income families, they can enter the workforce faster and find sustainable careers that pay good salaries. To repeat, it helps those students who are trapped in low-wage jobs, who are in generational poverty, gain skills that qualify them for better-paying jobs, and hopefully some of those that begin on this path to earn a certificate or two-year degree will want to go on to obtain their bachelor's or higher degrees at a university. This can be facilitated, as the Chancellor said, by removing barriers, and Dallas College is removing barriers, structural and otherwise. So helping students to move up into the middle class by removing structural barriers to them completing their educational goals is what resonated most with me. Setting up processes that are consistent across the college for all students is also what resonated most with me, because for first-generation college students, the higher education bureaucracy can be daunting. We need to make it user-friendly and not have students opt out when trying to enroll for the first time because the beginning process was too difficult for them to navigate.
Great. Thank you, Chair Flores. Representative Chia, let me turn to you. Clearly, you have a perspective on education and workforce engagement issues. And as a former DISD trustee, you're keenly aware of the support system needed for many of our students to navigate throughout higher education, many of whom are first-time college students. What barriers should Dallas College be looking to address as we restructure our organization?
Thank you, Justin. It's a pleasure to be on with Trustee Flores, Chancellor May, Mr. Rader. Thanks for inviting me to participate here. I have some perspectives that are informed not only by personal experience, which I'll share in just a moment, but also in looking at the role that Dallas College plays from a macro perspective that we often employ at the state. I can't underscore the significance of sort of the piece that Dallas College occupies in that pre-K through 16 pipeline. And until very recently, we weren't looking at it as a pipeline. But the one, I guess, criticism or plea that I receive from business owners, and I am one, we employ about 45 people in our little old company. But the number one criticism I get is we are starved for well-prepared human capital. And that stands in opposition to some of what we hear, right? We hear about tax rates, we hear about incentives that businesses need to be getting, sort of city subsidy that spurs development. But really the number one economic development issue is our development of human capital in the state. And candidly, we just haven't invested in it at great length in the past. I'm really pleased about the role, or about the legislature's move to fund full-day enriched pre-K during this last legislative session. I know that Dallas College has played a role in that as well, because you're going to help us prepare those certified pre-K teachers that we have a shortage of. And then when you look at the other end of the spectrum, obviously that transition from high school to four-year schools, that's your sweet spot, and that's where you're playing an important role. One of my, and I'll weave in my personal story in a minute, but I not too long ago had a conversation with one of my college classmates, a guy named Hunter Hunt, who is a CEO here in town. He was the chair, obviously, of your foundation for some time. And he said, Rafael, if our alma mater, SMU, fell into the ocean tomorrow, it would be very sad for Dallas. There's a lot of history there, and it's an important institution. But if Dallas College fell into the ocean tomorrow, we would be in big trouble, and we would really suffer deeply as a community, and our ability to generate human capital would be severely impaired. I mean, we could overcome SMU going away. We could absolutely not overcome losing the work that Dallas College does. So you asked me kind of how I look at this continuum of pre-K through college. At any number of portions along the way, whether it's for 4-year-olds or whether it's for 18-year-olds, there are a number of different ways that kids just fall off track. And some of it relates to health challenges, some of it relates to family challenges, some of it relates to poverty. And as the son of immigrants to the United States, one of the big gating items that I perceived in my own life and then later saw as a trustee in the Dallas Independent School District was that transition from 11th, 12th grade to university. And the big gap was that oftentimes parents could not dream about college for their kids. Therefore, their kids were never going to be able to dream about it. And that's when Trustee Flores and I teamed up to start a program called Llaves del Éxito, which allowed Spanish language dominant parents to understand, to have those keys to success and understand what the gating items were to get their kids into college. It wasn't for a lack of desire, and it wasn't for a lack of hope. We all share the same dreams and aspirations for our kid. It was just the technical challenges related to FAFSA, related to financial aid, related to signing kids up for class, related to providing the requisite documents that one needed, related to even understanding what the SAT and ACT were. All of those gating items presented a huge obstacle for our first generation college families, like mine was when my parents emigrated to this country in the 50s. But compounding that was actually the delivery of the content in Spanish, which did not exist anywhere in what was then DCCD or in DISD. So creating a fully bilingual and biculturally sensitive college access program helped remove a lot of those hurdles. And it's funny because I run into Llaves del Éxito graduates now throughout our community, and their teachers and firefighters and first responders. And it is a testament how removing these choke points from the pipeline makes a big difference and allows us to do something scalable in terms of growing our human capital.
Thank you, Representative Menchia. And you referenced quite a bit, the pipeline, the starting in pre-K, and reference some of our focus in that. Dr. May, you want to take a minute and share just a little bit some of our focus there?
Sure, and thank you for mentioning and your help with your role in the legislature for helping us get the authority to offer baccalaureate degrees. And it really wasn't at all about expanding our mission. It was about solving a very real problem in Dallas County. And there really is a twofold problem. One, we need more young children to take advantage of pre-K and early childhood education programs. We know that's tied to greater success in life. The ability to get that early foundation right is absolutely critical and important, but we had a big problem. We were short about 4,500 preschool teachers, and we really had no capacity to grow that without creating a whole new way, a new opportunity. So we did go to the legislature. We asked specifically for the authority to offer and to award degrees, baccalaureate degrees in early childhood education. Great news is we were approved by the coordinating board. We were approved by our accreditor. We this fall started our first class as Dallas College, offering baccalaureate programs that are now available for the entire community. And we're really excited about this because we have focused on the specific needs of helping individuals who've grown up in communities within Dallas County to be able to stay in those communities, raise their family, but also have a great job of helping grow and our young people and give them knowledge and skills that they need to get that great foundation in order to continue their education. So again, Representative Anchea, really appreciate your support and leadership, because you were one of the first to reach out, come on board, sign on board with that particular bill and say we need to get this done. And thank you for your help.
Mr. Rader, let me turn to you. Obviously, some of the conversation that Representative Anchea and Dr. May were just mentioning about our focus on workforce. You have been engaged in a number of economic development activities throughout the county, and we know that those need to increase, especially in the southern sector. So from your perspective, what skill sets should our students have upon graduation to achieve gainful employment?
Testing 1, 2, 3.
We've got you. Yes, sir.
My pleasure to be with you today. Thank you, Joe, and Dr. Seabrooks at Cedar Valley College. I've become familiar with and some good friends there, and they are definitely helping us in the South Dallas County, Inland Port area. We are a logistics location, 3 interstate highways, 2 Class 1 railroads, and seeing a lot of growth over the last 7 years. Approximately 30,000 new jobs have been created in that corridor, and we're seeing a vast growth now. Logistics is basically in our area, a lot of warehousing, distribution centers coming together, and some manufacturing coming together. But the basic skill levels are still the same to some extent, and that's communication capabilities, interacting with your management, interacting with other employees. Those that are same kind of basic skills that I've heard for all the way through my life. So we still got those to continue with. But our logistics systems and manufacturing is growing very rapidly with high tech or more technology involved in the way of computers, in the way of AI, and other support structures within some of these warehouses. Today's warehousing distribution centers are 500,000 to over 2 million square feet, 100-foot tall, vast amount of conveyor systems within those, computer operated, everything's very automated, becoming more automated. Manufacturing, same, but there are skill levels that really come together, and communication definitely is one of them. Problem solving, technical capabilities, hands-on technical capabilities, mechanical skills. Those are still viable for working within a warehouse, working in a manufacturing facility. But we are seeing more, for sure, as I mentioned, technology capabilities, technology training. And we have approximately 2 million people living within 30 minutes of Dallas County Inland Port, 75,000 acres. Vast, very rapidly growing. I believe that a majority of that population, job force, labor force that's in that 2 million population is basically Southern Dallas I-20, 35, 45 corridor. And the skill set, same old skill set as far as I'm concerned, except you got to understand how this technology works, which I learn every day now that we're all on virtual. So it's a little different on that basis.
Well, thank you, Mr. Rader. Yeah, no question. We are all spending our time in this format, staring at screens and learning all along the way. But thank you for your perspective. Dr. May, let me shift back to you, if we could. One of the things we have done in moving to Dallas College is we've moved to a school of structure. And so if you can share a little bit about that and how this structure will improve how students receive instruction from us. Oh, and you're muted, Dr. May.
Got it. Oh, there we are. Thanks, Humza, for the help there. let me kind of take this concept of schools of and translate it into everyday English to understand what we're talking about. It gets exactly at what Mike was talking about earlier. He's working in South Dallas, trying to grow the economy, trying to bring in new business, trying to get people jobs that he's bringing into the community, and it can't be done today without support from higher education. Virtually every job that he's bringing into the community requires some type of certification beyond high school, may not require a bachelor's degree, may not even require an associate's degree, but they're going to need to go to enroll in one of our colleges in order to get the help that they need. And Cedar Valley College, you mentioned, is a great partner. Really loves South Dallas, loves figuring out how to solve problems in South Dallas. The leadership there pays a lot of attention to that, but they don't offer every program that every company needs coming into South Dallas. So how do we, so what we found ourselves doing as a company looking to locate South Dallas, then somebody had to go out and almost beg other institutions to join in to help and with a business that wasn't even in their region. They didn't necessarily see that as part of who they served. So now as Dallas College, our programs are not divided up geographically. We all serve the entire region. Our programs there are to help every single individual, every single employer, every community that we serve throughout Dallas County. I think just exactly like it was intended to happen. So the schools of mean that regardless of which, whether if you're in the logistics and need help on the computer side or on the operator side with a commercial driver's license, or some of the backroom operations in accounting, or whether it's a manufacturing facility and you need machine tools or welding, or some type of advanced robotics or a manufacturer, we can bring together now all the resources to do really hopefully three things: meet the needs of that specific employer, identify local individuals that can learn those skills and take those jobs, and be there for the long run to help the community to grow. So it's not just about organizing around the school. It's really about taking the school so that they can organize around a problem of individuals, employers, and communities. And that's our goal going forward, to be able to solve and meet the needs of each of those.
Great. Thank you, Dr. May. Along those same lines, let me turn to you again, Representative Anchia. Obviously, the state has a commitment to ensure that there's educational attainment for those in need. And so that's the state's 60 by 30 initiative. And so you're a key supporter of that. And can you share a little bit about what you think Dallas College should be doing in order to help achieve those goals?
So in answering that, I'm going to discuss my personal history a little bit. Neither of my parents, when I was born, neither of my parents had gone to college, and they immigrated to this country. They were incredibly hard workers. My dad to this day is still Spanish language dominant. But my mom had graduated high school in the United States, and I actually had a seat to appreciate the importance of community college to our family and getting us from one station of life to the next. Because I watched my mother work her way and through community college, go to night school, and I saw her walk across what was the gym floor at this community college to receive her associate's degree. And I remember how excited we were as a family for this achievement. But what I didn't appreciate is how it was going to change our family, not in the near term, not just for my mom's generation, but also for my sister and for me, and then for our progeny going forward. Because once a family is able to access that infrastructure of opportunity that is college, then it changes the trajectory of the family long into the future. So, she ultimately went to a public university and got her 4-year degree, became a public school teacher. My father, who only had a 7th grade education, he taught me hard work, but he didn't have the skill set to really help me along my educational path, maybe beyond middle school. And so it was really my mom who carried the laboring oar in getting the Anchias family from just hardworking immigrants to then college graduates. And now my daughters and Trustee Flores, it's going to be hard to believe, but I've got a junior and a freshman in high school. But my daughters, for them, there's just absolutely no question that there's going to be college and then graduate school, so that their skill set is going to be on a completely different level. Obviously, we know that 60 to 70% of the jobs that my daughters are going to have or be eligible for during their lifetime haven't even been invented yet. That's why Mr. Rader's response was really important about how even the warehouse has changed. The job at the warehouse has changed. So I really do support 60 by 30 Texas plan, because the only way that we're going to get people from one station in life to the next station is really by getting them to increase their skill sets. We need to increase our educated population. They need to be completing certificate or degree programs. They're going to need to achieve identified marketable skills, some of which we don't even know what they will be in the future. And then finally, and this is really important because it limits people's individual freedom, is capping at some level student loan debt. Or at least providing them affordable opportunities along that infrastructure of opportunity that I was discussing. So I'm a big supporter of the Dallas County Promise, which was launched by Dallas College in 2017 in conjunction with the Commit Partnership. And I really do commend Trustee Flores and the Dallas College Board of Trustees for adopting 60 by 30 Texas goals in your strategic priorities. The only way, not only do we change the lives of families like mine and change our trajectory, moving us into the middle class, but do that at scale for across the entire state, is with institutions like Dallas College.
Great, thank you, sir. Chair Flores, let me turn back to you, kind of that same thread of workforce engagement and educational attainment. How do you think that the move to Dallas College will benefit employers in Dallas County? And then also along the same lines, how do you anticipate Dallas College will help provide an educated workforce for employers?
Well, before I answer that, I'm really impressed by the commentary that we've had on behalf of Mr. Rader and Representative Anchia. While I hear the Chancellor all the time, and I certainly know where he is and what he has done, his great vision and impact on Dallas County and the community at large, it's good to hear Representative Anchia, although Rafael, we go back many years, as you referenced, but you always do great work. Mr. Rader, I don't know you, but thank you so much for what you're doing in Southern Dallas County. And I certainly can relate with you on technology, because I'm one of those that, I'm not there yet, but this coronavirus certainly propelled all of us, whether we wanted to or not, into gaining technical skills. So I'm going to do what Rafael did. I'm going to get a little bit personal. Rafael, you mentioned about your daughters, and I think the last time I actually saw them with you, they were probably about 8, 9, 10 years old. And what you said about there's no question, but that they know they're going to college, that's exactly why it's so important in terms of those students who are in generational poverty to at least have that first one enroll and finish. I was fortunate to have 2 grandchildren graduate, one from the University of Texas at Arlington and the other one from the University of Houston in the same year in 2018. So my grandson that's here local, I told him, Mijo, I'm so proud of you. He got his degree in engineering, mechanical engineering, got a job right off the bat, making a really good starting salary, close to what I'm making after 30 plus years of working, 40 years. But I said, Mijo, and my granddaughter Celeste, I said, what y'all have done is a gift to your generations to come. And Rafael, you're testament to that also by what you said about your daughters. Once you have a college educated person in the family, that impacts generations to come, because you did it, your generations, your children, your grandchildren, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. No, they can do it. And they will be college educated, and they will be able to function in society at a higher level professionally, altruistically, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why I'm just so excited, one, about being able to serve the community on the Board of Trustees, but two, because of the transformation we're undergoing to make sure we get more students out there and to be sure we're more relevant in what we're offering in terms of what business and industry needs. Dallas College's biggest economic impact results from educating our surrounding communities. In 2012-13, we did an impact analysis study. We verified that former Dallas College students generated $4.2 billion in added income per year in the Metroplex. I repeat, $4.2 billion per year in added income from our students. So that, Justin, is quite a benefit and quite an impact. Dallas College has more than 300 academic and technical degrees and certificates and 100 plus high demand career programs. Our students can be prepared for professional and workforce success in today's rapidly changing job market because of those programs. Business and industry benefit because they will have the skilled workers they need, Mr. Rader, as you were discussing. The region benefits by our educated students helping to sustain the economic vibrancy that exists in North Texas. Families benefit by having high wage earners as heads of households. Communities benefit by having an increased number of middle-class workers who can contribute professionally and civically in many ways because they are on a firmer foundation financially and thus can give of their time to altruistic initiatives. So while I went a bit far afield from your question, an educated workforce has cascading effects from the students to employers to families to communities, with Dallas College being a key engine to make that happen.
Chancellor May, let me turn to you. Representative Anchia referenced the Dallas County Promise, and as Chair Flores was talking about generational poverty, what do you see as the biggest disconnect between high school to college to workforce, and what gaps do we need to fill in order for these students to be successful in this transition?
And thanks. And clearly, that's a big issue that our entire community faces. And I think it's that lack of understanding still today of the connection between education and a great paying job is just missing from a lot of folks. And folks don't understand the need for more education. But I do think one of the challenges that we face is that our institutions really don't talk and engage with each other. You know, the idea behind the Dallas County Promise really wasn't rocket science. Yes, we guaranteed a free pathway to a post-secondary education, but the reality is, for most students, they already had that opportunity. They just didn't know it. It was there, and the reason they didn't know it is because no one owns transition. No one owns handoffs between high school and college, between 2-year and 4-year, and between any of our institutions into the world of work. We leave it up to the individuals to navigate. And so our goal has been about really looking at those dotted lines, those connections, those handoffs, and figuring out how we can own those for the betterment of students and for our entire community. So the Dallas County Promise does one thing. It helps students take all the necessary steps they need in order to get the Pell Grants that they already have earned and have coming their way, to take advantage of scholarships and opportunities that are already there and exist, just waiting for them at Dallas College, and that we can get them on a pathway to a job or a career, regardless if they're transferring to a 4-year institution like one of our great partners, which is University of North Texas Dallas that serves South Dallas as well and all of Dallas County, who is part of the Dallas County Promise, as well as Texas A&M Commerce, as well as Texas Woman's University, and others who work with us all toward the same goal of removing those barriers, helping with those handoffs and transitions, and ensuring that everyone knows that they're not having to make this journey alone, that we have people there to help navigate them and help them to successfully move through the network that for many families seems very foreign to them.
Thank you, Dr. May. Mr. Rader, let me turn back to you. From your standpoint, what kind of challenges are employers currently facing that successful partnerships with Dallas County can help improve?
I think I'm live again.
Yes, sir. We've got you.
That's the subject of concern that companies have in the quarter is maintaining their employees and turnover and skill sets and training, issues along those lines. The predominant thing, I think, we're a low-income area, pretty obvious. Got a number of minority students, minority people living in the area. Transportation's a big key. I hear frequently, matter of fact, last week at a lunch I was attending, company in Wilmer lost a couple of people because they couldn't get transportation to get to their job. And I think we've had that also in some cases, transportation getting even to maybe the Dallas College facilities. We have formed in Southern Dallas now Transportation Management Association that also involves DART. And that association is bringing public transportation to the Dallas County Inland Port area. A number of companies, Amazon, FedEx, Procter & Gamble, Whirlpool, Ace Hardwares, definitely will be benefited by being able to get employees to their facilities. Still, there is an opportunity to work with the Dallas College. Cedar Valley College is close by, working with businesses to really understand what the skill sets that they're looking for in their facility. And automation is definitely one area that I think is going to be more emphasized. I'm presently working with 4 companies that could build 5 million square feet of facilities and have 5,000 new employees by first quarter of 22. We've got to be able to support that growth. And I think that a good portion of that, I want to be putting these companies together with Dallas College to work with the college system and define maybe a training program that they can use and have readily available for employees starting in 22.
Great. Thank you, sir. Dr. May, let me turn to you a little bit. As Mr. Rader was saying, we need to focus on how we partner together. So as we unify as one college, as Dallas College, and align within the Schools Up model that you share, how do you think we can and should partner with organizations to better meet industry demand for a trained workforce?
None of us can really do this alone. And I think there's a history of everyone operating in isolation in their own silos and not really communicating. So what we really tried to do, both with our structure, but also with intentional partnerships, is to look at how we can collaborate. I have told Mike Ratter that call me anytime that there's an opportunity that's there, that we will find a way. We'll drop what we're doing because it's so important that we grow the jobs everywhere in Dallas County, but particularly where we see people that are being left behind by the economy that aren't able to participate. And we'll be there to partner and to collaborate. And in 90% of the cases, we're already going to have the programs and services that are needed to be able to meet those needs. But in case we don't, the great thing about an organization like ours, we're able to start up new programs, to invest in areas and help grow. We have some going on right now where industry needs us to work in a different way with light metals, where we typically work with steel in our programs and aluminum and others, but they're new materials that require different skill sets today. And so we're changing our program and adding 2 programs to better meet those needs. And I think it's that working together is what's the difference. And, the fact of the matter is the problems and the challenges are too big for any of us to do it alone. The challenge with collaboration means all of us have to let go a bit in order to focus not on our problems and needs, but on the needs of others. And that's really what collaboration is all about, why we're excited to be a part of many of the efforts that we're talking about today.
Great, thank you, sir. Let me turn back to you, Representative Anchia. And, from your perspective, what are the key factors that will increase the success of our students, and how will that success impact Dallas County now and years to come?
Well, I'm just going to riff off of what Mr. Rader was discussing a moment ago, and also what was followed on by Chancellor May. We have to get the baseline right of reading, writing, arithmetic, all the things that sort of form the baseline of what one should know to be globally competitive. And I remind people all the time that Dallas is not just competing against U.S. cities that are similarly situated like Phoenix or Atlanta, Nashville, and we're competing with cities across the globe, including China, and some cities that are 15 million people that we've even never heard of. And it is incumbent upon us to try to grow that human capital so that the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex continues to become that go-to destination. So you have to get that baseline of understanding right, and we need to make sure that we enhance rigor, in my opinion, both at the state and local level. Beyond that, Mr. Rader discussed kind of the soft skills and critical thinking skills that we need for people to be successful. And those soft skills oftentimes have nothing to do with talent, zero. In fact, there's this list of things that don't require you to have a degree at all, but it's things like being on time, shaking somebody's hand and looking at them in the eye, smiling every once in a while at work when you're talking to your colleagues, working hard, doing extra. I mean, those kinds of soft skills that are highly valuable in the work environment that regrettably kids along the way are not receiving. And whether it's a byproduct of those things, not being available in families of low-income households. I remember in my situation, I was a first-year student at Tulane Law School, and I went to a reception at a law firm it was for the minority law students. I remember going up in the elevator, and it dawned upon me that I didn't know, I had never been in a law firm before. And I was a first year at a top 25 law school, and because we didn't know any lawyers, right? The only lawyers I ever came across were the ones that came to coach my mock trial team. But I didn't know how to act in a law firm. I didn't know when those doors opened, what the heck was going to be on the other side. I had no frame of reference. And likewise, some of these soft skills that don't get translated from parents to kids, it's a byproduct of just a lack of experience. I didn't know how to dress in an office. I didn't know how to tie a tie until I was in law school. When I was interviewing at law schools, I had to put a tie on. I had to ask my hallmates to tie it for me. I didn't own a tie that wasn't the clip-on. I had no idea. And so a lot of the things that we take for granted, whether Mr. Rader was talking about transportation, just getting to and from a place, or the soft skills that he was discussing, for some families may be completely foreign concepts. And the way you get them is through practical experience, through the internships that have been referenced here, through the partnerships that are being developed by Dallas College and the private sector. I mean, Mr. Rader, we participate in a program where we have 5 kids from Pleasant Grove who work in our office. And it is an enormous task just for those kids to come from Pleasant Grove to downtown Dallas after school. It's a huge undertaking for them. But just their ability to be around professionals in an office setting and understand what the hell a cubicle is or what a password is to log on already puts them a leg up on many of their similarly situated peers who have not had this experience. They just don't know. It's not like they're bad or wrong. They just haven't had the experience. So these partnerships are critically important. I can't emphasize them enough, because that's where you learn about being on time and please, thank you, and what the visual expectation of a professional environment is.
Great, thank you. Yep, all important. So I appreciate your focus on that. Let me turn to you, Chair Flores. You've been around Dallas College for a long time, as I said earlier, as a student, as an employee, and now as a long-serving trustee and as a board chair. So tell us, if you will, share your thoughts 5 years from now. What results do you hope to see as a move to this unified Dallas College?
That short and sweet. I hope to see the greater majority of students who come through our doors, whether physical or virtual, successfully exit through those doors, graduating in less than 3 years, and continuing on to the next phase of their journey, whether that be transferring to a university or entering the workforce with a high demand skill. That is the major result I hope to see 5 years from now, students succeeding.
Great. Well, thank you, ma'am. Well, we have a number of questions that we're probably not going to have time to get to, but let me just turn to you, Mr. Rader, quickly, just for a final question from your experience perspective. What changes do you think higher education needs to be focusing on to meet the demands of the workforce? And what questions should we be asking as higher education leaders to make sure that we're increasing the business partnerships and connections throughout Dallas County?
I have to leave that question of how to educate somebody to somebody else, because I've never been very good at that. I've always followed the leadership of somebody like Joe or Representative Anchia and Ms. Flores. So I see a greenfield out there that is looking for a lot of opportunity. And there's thousands of people and students in the area. And how do you educate them more? It's really by contact, communication with each other, and having the curriculums that are available at Dallas College through DISD all the way through the college to help somebody come to achieve what they potentially can achieve. Most people don't understand that you get to a stage in life where you look back and say that took a lot of patience and a lot of perseverance. And I think some parents look at their kids that way. It took a lot of patience and a lot of perseverance. Setting a goal, you got students coming out of high school coming into Dallas College. They're setting a goal. They may not know exactly where they want to go yet, but they'll pick a field somewhere in that first 2 years and while they're at Dallas College. And that field's either going to be something that's going to be maybe hands-on technology, something computerized using their brain capacities, and some of it's in personalities and using their personality to grow and find a job and supports a lifestyle that they really want to get to. I think one thing that would be good, and I think Joe's talked about it before, I've talked about it with Joe and Dr. Seabrooks, is to take some of these companies and set up maybe semi-annually where we have a visit with some key companies, discussing with them what their needs are, because it's rapidly changing in our logistics world in South Dallas County. It's rapidly changing, and the types of skilled jobs are changing within the companies also. And if we could do maybe a semi-annual meeting with a group of people, find out what these businesses are really looking for, and then see if we're supplying that skill set level of curriculum at the school would be great.
Great. Thank you, sir. Well, as I said, we've got a number of questions that unfortunately we couldn't get to today, but it's been a rich, robust conversation and appreciate everybody's participation in that. So with that, we'll ask each of the panelists just to kind of give any parting thoughts, just about 60 seconds or so. Chair Flores, you get a little bit more time to do that as we wrap up. But I'll start with you, Representative. Any final thoughts you'd like to leave with the audience?
I was hearing a beep. So a couple of things. First, I want to thank Trustee Deanna Flores for her leadership. When I first got into elected public service back in 2001, there were very few people who I felt I could lean on to even understand, where the bathroom was, to in a metaphorical contest. I just didn't know. I felt I was well prepared, but I didn't know what I didn't know. And she was incredibly helpful to guide me along my public service. And I look up to her today. And it makes me very happy when I have opportunities to collaborate with her, because she is one of these people who is a genuine public servant who a lot more money in the private sector, but has chosen, because she has this servant's heart, she has chosen to give back to her community mightily, and I'm grateful. To Chairman May, or Chancellor May rather, and just Mr. Rader, it's been a pleasure to be on this panel. I would say, in closing, that Dallas College needs to remain nimble. This structural change of going from 7 individual colleges to 1 college, I think, will be very, very helpful for the student body. But because of Moore's law, which, as we know, causes technology, the capacity of technology to double every 5 years. In fact, some say 3 years. The changes that are going to occur in our society as a result of these technology enhancements are going to be massive. And what I think we know today the future is going to be like is just for certain wrong. We just don't know. And as a result, maintaining nimble curriculum, maintaining nimble programming to meet the needs of that future workforce and the skill sets that are going to be needed to occupy those jobs are going to be really important. So thank you for having me, and that I will sign off and appreciate this opportunity.
Thank you, Representative Ngia. We know you've got to run to another meeting. Appreciate you taking time with us today. Mr. Rader, I'll turn to you for any quick final thoughts you'd like to share with the group.
Enjoyed this opportunity to share with you, talk about South Dallas County and Dallas colleges. It's a great association, great opportunity that we have to grow the area and provide jobs and opportunities for students coming out of the college, and good leadership from Joe. I appreciate that from you guys, and Joe Seabrooks also very much, because it's a positive ad. I can tell a company, I do have some Cedar Valley College's brochures in my office, so I do pass those along to companies that come in. Here's your training force. Here's the people who can train your labor force. So we talk along those lines. We do want to see more of that and take the opportunity that the Dallas College provides for us.
Well, thank you, Mr. Rader, for joining us and for spreading the good word and handing those pamphlets out where you can and that material. Dr. May, let me turn to you for any final thoughts.
Sure, and I just want to thank all the panelists today, Representative Ngia, Mike Rader, and of course Chair Flores for being a part of this. You know, what's important is translating from the policy side to the practical side, and that's really what you've heard today. We've gone from the legislature and our board about how they look at the needs and the greater good of the community, how we as an institution of higher education work to translate that to meet the very real needs of communities, of individuals, of employers that you face in the real world. And you know, we can't do that alone. So coming together with these conversations is so important. So hopefully we'll have more in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Chancellor. Let me turn to you now, Chair Flores, for your final thoughts.
Yes, and these will take about a minute or two, because I really would like to acknowledge our panelists, and that this was quite a robust discussion. So thank you, Representative Anchia, even though he's had to leave us, but I'll certainly reach out to him for providing not only personal touches, but personal experiences that certainly relate to students today, even today, but state perspectives. And Mr. Rader, what you've done in terms of business and industry, it's what we hear all the time. Thank you for affirming what we're hearing and letting us know that we're on the right path to try to be more relevant in our programs so that it works with what business and industry needs. And Dr. May also for helping inform our public about the great work Dallas College is doing. I loved how you put it in context about at policy level, but now putting it into the practical realm. So you were able to see what Dallas College is doing and how it's addressing the needs of students, fulfilling state goals for an educated workforce, and providing the skilled talent needed by businesses and industries. And thank you, Justin, for keeping us on track and assuring that this town hall flowed as smoothly as possible. For those of you who joined us in this town hall, thank you for allowing us to share with you why we became Dallas College. It is all designed to better serve students and help them succeed in meeting their educational goals with us. And as stated previously, a college education, whether for a skilled job or a college or university degree, helps the student move from poverty into the middle class. I am testament of that, and many of my friends and family are also. So I know this from firsthand experience. Since there are an unacceptable number of individuals and families living in poverty in Dallas County and beyond, we must do all we have in our power to assure that higher education is demystified for first-generation students, whether they are fresh from attaining their GED or high school diploma, or as young adults or working adults wanting to get their education at the college level. We need to make the process of enrolling, persisting, and completing their education as barrier-free as possible, because as I already stated, education does alleviate poverty. Now, we'll continue these town halls with other board members providing additional information on the good things happening in Dallas College to benefit our students and communities. We thank the Chambers of Commerce, which Justin will acknowledge shortly, who have agreed to sponsor these town halls and share the announcements with their memberships. We really need to get the word out there to the public of what it is that we're doing for your benefit. So more to come. So with that, thank you for your support of Dallas College. Thank you for being with us. And Justin, you can close us out now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair Flores. As Chair Flores said, obviously our Board of Trustees are committed to engaging with the community in this remote environment. This is the manner in which that we will continue to do that. So there will be more of these to come, as Chair Flores said, and certainly we couldn't do it without the support of our community partners. So just want to take a minute to thank the Irving Hispanic Chamber, the Dallas County Inland Port, the Southeast Dallas Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, the Garland Chamber of Commerce, the Richardson Chamber of Commerce, the Best Southwest Partnership, the North Dallas Chamber, the Irving Las Colinas Chamber, the Oak Cliff Chamber, the Southeast Dallas Chamber, and the Greater Dallas Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. These partners have come together to help support the work that we're doing, support this conversation today. And again, there will be more to come. So again, thanks to our participants for joining us, and thanks to our panelists for the conversation today. Hope everyone has a great day. Thanks so much.